Did you scream of joy when you heard that Businesses and Hobbies was coming out? Well, I did, and today I'm exploring how Businesses and Hobbies, and especially the new world Nordhaven, is a tribute to Scandinavia and, as a Dane myself, to Copenhagen itself. From the colorful houses to the cozy courtyards and subtle cultural nods, Nordhaven feels like a digital postcard from the Nordic world, so let's unpack all of the little details that makes it so Scandi. Hello everyone, my name is Reese, and welcome to my channel. If we take a look at my first impressions of Nordhaven, the first things I noticed was the pastel-colored houses, the courtyard-style lots, and the narrow streets where bikes were everywhere. We had these trains or trams or like streetcars or whatever, and seemingly a slower pace of life than in some of the other worlds. And the first thing I noticed, of course, and that's probably because I am a Dane living in Copenhagen, is the Little Mermaid statue. I felt so at home and I got so very excited when I noticed this because, oh my god, I'm playing The Sims in my own backyard. That was so amazing. And then the name itself, Nordhaven, it gives strong vibes of Northern Haven, a safe, tranquil space, which fits perfectly with the Nordic ideal of balance and harmony. So Nordhaven is clearly designed to feel small, tight-knit, and community-oriented. And if you've ever been to Scandinavia or seen photos of Copenhagen's residential areas, you'll feel right at home. Because this place is giving hygge vibe, and it's giving Scandi core in the very best ways possible. But first, let's take a look at the general info of this place, because we have 12 lots, and we have 6 in each of the 2 neighborhoods. The name, Nordhaven, means North Sea in Swedish and North Garden in Danish and Norwegian. And in Copenhagen, Denmark, there is an actual neighborhood called Nordhavn, meaning North Harbor. The world is surrounded by forest and mountains, which likely is a reference to those of Norway, Sweden and Finland. And not to forget that we have Himmelbjerget, the sky mountain, in Denmark too. And also, if you have seasons installed, the weather follows that of Northern Europe, a temperate climate for the most part. That means that summers are sunny and characterized with warm and nice temperatures, but also cloudy skies with the possibility of rain. For the most part, there is no such thing as heat waves, and winters might have snowfall and cold or freezing temperatures. And according to this Reddit source, the sun also sets much earlier in the winter than in the other seasons and in the other worlds, because it sets already at 1500 or 3 p.m. So all in all, the weather is quite a mix of the Northern European climate, and I think this is such a nice detail to keep in mind when playing the game and thinking of Scandinavian. So the question is, what have EA themselves said about Nordhaven? Well, they have stated that Nordhaven is inspired by the architecture and aesthetics of Northern Europe and Scandinavia. So, well, I got that one right. Including cities like Stockholm, Copenhagen, Berlin, Amsterdam, as well as Manchester's Northern Quarter and London's Camden Market. So it's not only Scandinavia apparently, but definitely Northern and Western Europe. EA writes that Nordhaven captures the essence of creativity and entrepreneurship, and that they have collaborated with the community builders Eva Rodke, Kelly Hartz, Leireen 35, and Johanna Bills to bring this vision to life. And of course, since I am a Dane myself, I've noticed the references to Copenhagen and maybe Stockholm the most. So I am a bit surprised to see that Manchester and London has been an inspiration too. But when I think of it, I can definitely see that the red cycle paths are most definitely Amsterdam and not so much Scandinavia, where we have blue cycle paths. So now you know that. But in Nordhaven we have 2 neighborhoods. We have Gammelvik and Iverstad. And they're clearly inspired by the mix of historic old towns and sleek modern neighborhoods. We have the Nordic ever-presence of water, bridges and island-like layouts, which makes the urban planning in Nordhaven quite realistic and really nice. But first, let's dive into Gammelvig and let's break down the name. So Gammel means old in both Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian, and Vig means bay, also in all of these three languages. So the name of this neighborhood is Old Bay, which makes good sense since this is the old neighborhood with a history focus. Gammelvig is apparently inspired by Gamla stan in Stockholm, which is the old town consisting of the islands Stadsholmen, Riddarsholmen, and other holms. And sorry to the Swedes about that pronunciation, that was probably more Danish than Swedish. But I think that this inspiration is quite clear because Gamla stan also has an old square, Stortorget, and old narrow cobblestone streets from the 13th century. And this particular neighborhood has previously been called the town between the bridges, which makes really good sense also when we take a look at Gammelvig. But to me, Gammelvig's canals and cozy cafes reflects the vibe of Copenhagen's Nordhaven or Nyhavn district and the strong sense of hygge, comfort and community that I can also feel in Nordhaven's communal spaces and the seasonal festivals. But again, I might be slightly Copenhagen biased here. But I must say that the steep slope roofs and the compact living spaces are classic Nordic urban planning. And also the courtyard housing is very Scandinavian as it encourages community and shared green spaces. The other neighborhood, Iverstad or Iversted, is a previously industrial area now turned into a modern and creative place for the cool types, I think. And it does actually look somewhat like the neighborhoods Nordhavn and Sydhavn in Copenhagen, North Harbor and South Harbor, that are also previous industrial harbor areas now turned nice. And here off the coast from Iverstad is the Little Mermaid statue that I mentioned, giving strong references to Copenhagen, even with a seagull regularly and casually resting on the statue's head. And if we take a look at the name Iverstad, in both Danish, Norwegian and Swedish, Iver means eager and Sted means town or city. So this is basically called Eager Town. And I'm sure it's a reference to the prosperity of this modern and new place, because I think many Simmers are going to move here and start new lives and open new businesses. And that must have been EA's thought behind this. But I really enjoy Iverstad as a neighborhood, even though I think Gammelvig is prettier, because here in Iverstad we have the food stalls, we have cozy corners and cafes, and I'm thinking so much of Broens Gadekøkken in Copenhagen, meaning the street kitchen on the bridge, which is a really nice hangout place and also a place where tourists meet locals in the summer. But it's not only the names and the buildings that have clear references to Scandinavia, because if we zoom out a bit, I think Nordhaven isn't just about the buildings, it's also about a way of living. Because even though we have this clean design and bike-friendly streets, I think we're supposed to notice that this place seems more laid back, more slow-paced than some of the other worlds. I actually do want to dive somewhat into Danish architecture and design, because if we talk build style, the brick and stone buildings mixed with the minimalist interiors is a nod to Danish design, I think. It's a nod to the blend of old world charm and sleek design, which is typical for the Nordic cities. And you'll also notice things like minimalist furniture and functional design that still feels cozy. So we have neutral tones with pops of color, and Nordic homes are all about natural light, warmth, and simplicity. And I think that the new build and buy items reflect that perfectly, because we have candles, cozy nooks, and furniture that's both stylish and functional. So the soft lighting, the muted earthy tone, a lot of wood and plants are just textbook Scandi design. So if you ever walked into a Danish home, you'll know that it's not about luxury, it's more about comfort, calm, and connection. And Nordhaven absolutely captures that mood. So the Sims team clearly did their homework. The world isn't a parody, It's an homage to Scandinavia, and it blends Scandinavian aesthetics with Sims gameplay in a way that feels intentional and affectionate. It's slower, more grounded, and it encourages connection, which I love. So in a way, Nordhaven represents what a lot of people wish modern Lime would be: clean, cozy, and full of community spirit. So honestly, Nordhaven kind of makes me want to sell everything, move to a tiny house, and bake rye bread all day long. So what do you think? Have you played in Nordhaven yet? And did you notice all of the little Scandinavian touches? So please let me know in the comments if you've caught any details that I missed, or if you would like a build tour or a gameplay challenge set in Nordhaven. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more cozy Sims content. But thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for other videos. Bye!